Way high, high, 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 way high, way high, high, way high, high.
We're middle of the res road. We're your hosts, Morgan and Ricky.
We're here to share the success stories of people who took the opportunity to join the trades and how these opportunities can be achieved by anyone looking for success. Hey everyone, middle of the res road, back again. We're here with Chi Maingan, also known as Herb Fineday. Which one do you prefer, to be honest?
I prefer to be called Chi Maingan.
Okay.
I just kind of like transition into using that name now. I consider Herb Fineday, kind of like my schoolhouse name or my government name, but I'm doing a little bit of decolonizing with the work that I do, so I do prefer to be called Chi Maingan.
Okay, we'll keep that in mind as
All
we
right.
keep this interview going.
Cool.
But, before we get into that, Alyssa has some information about the powwows.
So this weekend is the Fond du Lac Veterans Powwow. That will be Friday the 8th, Saturday the 9th, and Sunday the 10th.
I'm excited for this one. Isn't there a 5K before on Friday?
There's a 5K that's going to take
Yep.
place on Saturday.
Saturday.
So they just added a traditional lacrosse game yesterday. So
really?
that instruction will be taking place by Tom Howes. And I believe the Brookston Center is going to be coming out with all their lacrosse sticks. So that's always a fun time, too.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I'll have to sit that one out. I wish I could participate in that.
Yeah, so the 5K starts at the Sawyer Center at 8 a.m. is registration, and the event starts at 9.
Oh, okay.
Fun. I think it'll be a good time. We'll post everything to our Facebook, too.
Yeah.
So you guys know and can keep track.
Check it out. Also, Morgan.
With our trivia question for today is, it is a good one. Okay, so here it is. What city has the highest Native American population? So think on it, and at the end of the episode, we will revisit the answer.
Also, you got a new job recently. How's that been going?
I did get a new job, so I accepted an executive director position with the MNTCC, which is the Minnesota Tribal Contractors Council. So it's me and one other gal, so we are co-executive directors. I just started on Friday, and it was kind of, with the holiday weekend, I didn't get to dive right in, so it's kind of it's slow. So, but I'm excited.
Well, congratulations.
Thanks.
Well, I hope it goes good.
Yeah,
So
so
if you don't see Morgan very often in our lives or
Yeah.
on social
other
media,
events.
she will be here part-time.
Cool. Congratulations.
Thanks. I'm excited. Be a good challenge and new opportunities. So
I was going to say other events this weekend. The Duluth fireworks are Friday at 10:10, and then Movie in the Park at Leif Erikson Park. They're playing Sing 2. That's at Friday at 9:20.
good family outings, right? Did any of you guys go to the Cloquet fireworks?
I did not.
No?
I did not make it, no.
We did, yeah.
Yeah,
So did I.
we sat down at Spafford.
Yeah, we went to the Veterans last night, catched a little bit of the Peanuts movie, and my kids loved it. Did you
All
guys
right.
do anything over the holiday weekend? I saw you were at a powwow.
I was in Red Cliff all weekend. Yeah, we left on Thursday. I know for my family, Red Cliff is always one of our favorite powwows to go to, and usually when we head out to Red Cliff, we'll leave in like the middle of the week, like Wednesday, and we usually don't return home till after the 4th. We like to go out to Madeline Island and go out to La Pointe, Wisconsin, and watch their parade there, and then either go into Bayfield or to Cornucopia and watch their fireworks display. But we were watching the weather, and while we were at the powwow on Sunday, it started to rain, and it didn't look like it was going to clear up till into Monday or Tuesday. So we just decided to pack up and come home. And we went up to Brookston for their parade.
Oh,
So went up back
Brookston.
to the old stomping grounds up in Brookston.
They always have good festivities up there.
Yeah, it's always a good time there.
Mhm.
Do they have the fireworks?
No, they actually canceled the fireworks.
did?
Yeah, and from what I understand is that their city council is going to vote on if they're going to have a fireworks display this year, or if they're going to roll over that funding for next year's fireworks display and just have a bigger fireworks.
Oh.
Oh, that'd be cool.
So-
I'm going there next year.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking when they were telling me about that.
Well,
That's funny.
that's to keeping in the back of your mind.
Yeah, and you know, my family and I, that's usually our summertime. That's what it's filled with. Is we go to powwows just about every single weekend, and you know, there's a big one coming up here at the Fond du Lac Veterans Powwow, and I'm excited to have that one back. It's the 27th Fond du Lac Veterans Powwow. So, and I'm going to be making my MC debut that
Ooh,
weekend. So
woo.
I'm pretty excited for that. The MC now, Les Gibbs, he actually he chose me to be a co-MC with him. So it wasn't the powwow committee. The powwow committee approached Les Gibbs and asked him, say, hey, is there anybody out there that you want to work with? And Les and I have been talking, you know, back and forth for the last couple of years, and he was saying, hey, Herb, do you ever want to MC? And I said, yeah, I've actually considered it. And at that time, he said, when they chose him, he approached me and asked me, and I said, absolutely, I would love to. So,
Well, cool.
yeah, I'm excited for this weekend.
Got your jokes on point.
Got my jokes on point. Yeah. So I think that's the biggest thing going around right now is like, Herb, do you got all your jokes ready? You got all your dad jokes ready? So I'm sure we're gonna have a lot of auntie and uncle jokes this weekend.
I can't wait for this powwow.
I know it's almost one of the reasons why I go to the powwows, just sit there and listen to the MC crack jokes. And
Exactly. You know, and that's what I do too. And I've paid a lot closer attention to all of the MCs this year now that I've been chosen to be an MC for the Fond du Lac Veterans Powwow. You know, now that I think about it too, there's kind of a lot of pressure on that, you know, to be an MC in your hometown or your home reservation.
Yeah.
You know, it's
I
kind of like
suppose, yeah.
you get up there and you get on the mic right away. You're in front of all your peers and around all the people that you've grown up around. And, you know, whereas I don't have that opportunity to be invited by a different community and not be so, I guess, known in that community. So now I just kind of like thrown to the wolves, I guess.
You'll do great.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
vibes. Sending
Thank
your
you.
way.
So are you going to dance at all?
No, I
you
won't be able. Nope, I'm not going to dance at all either. And when I travel around the powwows too, I kind of watch what if they have any dance specials or anything like that. Because you know, when I go to powwows, I love to dance. That's one of the things that draws me to powwows is dancing. I'm a grass dancer and I'm also a woodland dancer. And the powwows that I've been traveling to this year, I've been looking for either woodland specials or dance contests or else grass dance contests. And I'm on a streak right now. Every powwow that I've gone to, I've either placed first, second, or third. And coming to the Fond du Lac Veterans Powwow, they're having a huge woodland contest. And I've been inviting all my woodland friends, all of my fellow woodland dancers to come up and showcase their moves. And I've been telling them, hey, I'm going to sit this one out, guys. So some of them are like, yeah, we'll make it up. And I'm glad that we'll not be competing against you.
That's what I was about to say. Glad they're not dancing against you.
Yeah.
With that being said, have you grown up on Fond du Lac?
Yeah, so I kind of back and forth between Fond du Lac and the White Earth Reservation. My dad is a White Earth enrollee, and my mom is a Fond du Lac enrollee. And when I was born in Duluth, and we immediately moved out to White Earth. And I lived out there till I was probably 10, 11 years old, and we moved out to Fond du Lac full-time around that age, and we moved on Menomin Road.
Oh,
And so I say that I'm a Brookston kid. I say that I'm born and raised in Brookston once I come to Fond du Lac, and I call that place home, and that's where I call home today is Shkibaconning, and that's Brookston. That's where I live today. That's where I raised my family. But in the summertime, when I moved out to Fond du Lac, growing up in grade school and high school, as soon as school was out, I was on my way to White Earth. and I spent all summer in White Earth. And once school had started, I was back at Fond du Lac and going to school here. So I spent a lot of time at my grandparents' home and their property on the Round Lake. Round Lake, it's just outside of Ponsford, Minnesota. And, I call my company, my business that I run now, my art company, Round Lake Traditions. And the reason why I call it that is because of all of the culture and heritage that was taught to me while I lived there and while I grew up there. So I honor that place by calling myself or my company Round Lake Traditions.
Oh, it's so cool.
Oh, I love that. When you said Round Lake, I was like, it kind of
it
popped
clicked.
up a bulb. I was like, is that why?
Yeah, and it gets confused with Round Lake, Wisconsin. It's Round Lake, Wisconsin is another, we'll say, important stopping place for the Ojibwe people. And there's a lot of ceremony that's held out in Round Lake, Wisconsin today. And some people will ask me if that's where I come from, and I just correct them and say, no, it's on the White Earth Reservation just outside of Ponsford.
Yeah, I have a lot of family from Round Lake and Maple Plain, that area.
Yeah. Yep. That's a place where it gets often confused for.
That's what I was thinking. Like, oh, he's from Wisconsin.
Understandable. Understandable.
Which place feels more like home for you then, Fond du Lac or White Earth?
I'll say Fond du Lac, just because I've been here so long. There was a point in my life where I lived in the city of Cloquet here for a while when I was an adult, and I finally had the opportunity to move out onto the reservation, and it just so happens that I got to move out into Brookston, just a couple miles down from Monoman Road, my old stomping grounds, and I was extremely happy to be back out in Brookston and to call that place home again, but growing up on Fond du Lac, this is my roots. I'm an enrolled Fond du Lac member. I've been active in this community since I moved here when I was 10, 11 years old, and it's a place that I enjoy, and I enjoyed it so much as I've worked for the reservation for most of my adulthood, and growing up here, I figured this is where I'm going to stay in this. I've always called it home, and it will always remain home.
So growing up on the Fond du Lac Reservation and now raising your kids on the Fond du Lac Reservation, is that something special to you?
Absolutely. It's absolutely special to me. My family, I say that our lives revolve around the seasons. We got summertime here to, there's a lot of gathering in the summer. Fall time's coming. Once fall comes, we'll be harvesting our rice and our monoman here. That's the start of our hunting season. So we'll be harvesting our animals here. And then once the winter comes, we'll travel around sometimes for winter. But also we'll go to a big drum ceremony in the fall and a big drum ceremony in the spring. And once springtime comes, we have our sugar bush. So, and it's important for me to pass that stuff down to my children, to know that this is the lifestyle that was meant for us. And, whether it's finishing rice, finishing monoman, or boiling that sugar down, or harvesting animals, it's what's important to me. And we do that out at our homestead with every season that comes around.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your family?
Yeah, so we live out on, like I said, Brookston. We have 5 children. One of our oldest daughter, my wife and I, we have a blended family. So we got married in January 16th of 2016 is when we got married. So it was an easy one, 1/16/16.
Oh, that's a good one.
But I brought 2 daughters to the relationship, and she brought 2 sons to the relationship. And then we have a daughter of our own together who's 5 years old. My 2 daughters, one's 20 now. She lives on her own. She bought a house with her per cap that she received from Fond du Lac. So I'm very proud of that.
Good for her.
That's a good investment.
Yes.
And then I have a 13-year-old daughter. And we have 2 sons. One is 17. He's driving, so we don't see him very much. And then we have an 11-year-old boy and a 5-year-old daughter.
Fun. Is she going to kindergarten this year?
Yeah, she's going to kindergarten at Fond du Lac. We got 2 of our kids who are going to be running for a royalty out at the Fond du Lac Veterans Powwow. That's going to be our 5-year-old and 11-year-old boy.
Cute.
Yeah,
it.
it'll be a good time.
Well, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as a child growing up on the reservation, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Honestly, growing up on the reservation and I went to public school. I went to the Albrook School. I graduated from Albrook. I graduated from Albrook in 1994, and I excelled in art. And I had a great art teacher there, and I wanted to be an artist when I grew up. And here I am today as an artist. But then there was a time in my life, though, when I was thinking, growing up here on Fond du Lac, and seeing a lot of crime and things like that. And I thought, it would be cool to be a cop here on the Fond du Lac reservation. So I actually went to school and I became a law enforcement officer with Fond du Lac. And I started that job in January of 2000.
Oh, wow.
And I just retired from that in 2019. And when I retired in 2019, I decided to start my company, Round Lake Traditions. So I was a law enforcement officer for nearly 20 years, and that was a huge portion of my life. And I got to meet a lot of people through that position, and a lot of great people. Made a lot of great friendships with community members, and also with businesses too. And it's something that I enjoyed. And then there was a time where I just thought, I've always wanted to be an artist, and now's my chance. And I'm still going to do it while I'm young. So I made that transition to be an artist.
Well, it's awesome that you were able to pursue your dream, your childhood dream anyway.
Yeah, and I haven't looked back since that day when I made that decision. And some days I wake up and I go to work and I think, I wish I would have started this sooner.
What does your typical day look like as a business owner for Round Lake Traditions?
Well, I get up at 5 a.m.
Oh.
No, I'm not kidding either. So I usually wake up between 5 and 6 a.m. and I'll go to the gym and I'll get a workout in. I'll probably work out for a couple hours a day. And then I try to be in my studio by around 8. And I'll start my day in my studio around 8 a.m. And I'll work typically till about 4:30. And then I'll go through my sales that I made on my website, and then I'll start packaging that stuff up in the evening. And I'll visit the family once they come home. If school's in, I'll play with the kids. If my wife, she's just getting off work at that time too. So we'll sit down and talk about our day and, cook dinner together, things like that. And then once we kind of decompress and clean up a little bit after dinner, things like that, then I start packaging stuff up from the website sales and getting those ready for the outgoing mail the next day, kind of going through my books, things like that in the evening. And then try to retire a little bit early between 9 and 10, but it's every day is filled with something. You're always doing something from the moment you get up to the time you go to bed. And my wife kind of jokes around that, hey, when I was the chief of police for Fond du Lac, she says, I barely saw you then. And now that you're running your own business, I still barely see you.
I think it'd be the opposite.
Yeah.
You would think so, but it still holds true.
So you were talking about your studio. Do you have your own studio, or is it in your house or an office space?
Yeah, it's my own studio. When I retired in 2019, I was actually working out of my basement at that time, and I was getting kind of cramped, running out of space with all of my stuff coming in and putting in orders and boxing supplies and things like that. And I thought, I need my own space. And I had this 16 by 16 concrete pad that was behind my house that used to be equipped with a hot tub. I never had a hot tub on it though.
Oh.
So I thought, that pad there is going to be perfect if I was able to build a studio there. So I ended up putting a studio up there myself. And I built it myself in that fall of 2019, and I had that up within 18 working days.
Oh my
18
gosh.
days?
18 working days, yes.
Oh my goodness.
And I was moved in. I started in September, and I was moved in by the middle of October.
It's crazy.
Jeez. That's some motivation right there.
Yeah. My wife always jokes around with me that, you never sit down, Herb. You never take a minute. And, sometimes if I do sit down, I rarely watch TV. And if I do sit down, I'm thinking that I should be doing something. I need to be doing something productive. So if I do watch TV, I usually watch it while I'm on the treadmill or something.
So you have a variety of things that you sell, from T-shirts, hats, ribbon skirts, ties. You do a lot. What are your favorite things to make?
I have
Design.
I have a few favorite things that I love working on. I love working on dance regalia, and the reason why I like working on dance regalia so much is that when I travel around the powwows and people will approach me and say, "Hey Herb, can you make a jingle dress, or how about a vest for me, or some dance aprons, or some leggings?" And they'll say, if I had those leggings, it'd get me back out in the dance arena. And traveling around to those powwows and seeing those people that are wearing the stuff that I've made, and knowing that I had a little bit of them getting back out dancing again, that's very fulfilling to me. And that's why I enjoy doing this so much, and that's why I love making dance regalia. When I design T-shirts or neckties or anything like that, and I put those on my website, I use that as kind of like a supplemental income, so that I can do all my custom work and work on those orders to get those out, whether it's ribbon skirts or velvet vests or aprons and jingle dresses, and beadwork. So I can take those orders in, and I can rely on my website to, I guess, supplement that income that that I'm kind of losing because I'm concentrating so much on this other stuff.
I heard regalia takes a really long time to make.
Yeah, so some of the stuff that I wear today, I've been working on for 6-7 years, and when people say that, hey, I've accumulated all this stuff over a lifetime, it's true. It holds true that sometimes it takes some of these traditional dancers and some dancers to get some of their regalia, and it does take a lifetime. It's not something that happens overnight, or it's not something that just happens over the winter. It takes a long time to put pieces together. And when you see a dancer out there with a lot of that intricate beadwork, and know that you can tell which ones have spent a lifetime of putting their stuff together, and it shows.
So have you made regalia of all kinds?
Yeah, I've made regalia from all types of I make head roaches. One of the first classes that I've ever taught on Fond du Lac was making head roaches, and I'll explain a head roach is. It's based for men, and it kind of looks like a crown, and it's made out of porcupine guard hair, the longer strands of hair on a porcupine. So it's not the porcupine quills, it's the hair, and you pluck all of that hair off of a porcupine, and you tie all those strands together on, we'll say, like a 26-inch yarn base. And tying all those pieces of porcupine guard hair, you probably have 1 million pieces on there.
Dang.
1 million pieces
Wow.
of guard hair. So, and then also you also have deer tail hair on that from the white-tailed deer. You have from the deer tails, you take the white parts of the deer tail, and you tie that onto the yarn base too, and sew that on there, and sew that all together. And that's how you make your porcupine head roaches. And that was one of the first classes that I've taught on Fond du Lac, was teaching people how to make one of those. And it was something that I was taught when I was young. And one of those pieces will take you, if you're a good porcupine roach maker, it'll take you probably 40 to 50 hours to make one.
Wow.
So a lot of the work that I do, sometimes people will say, hey, can you have this done for me next week? And it's like, no, absolutely not. And we'll say, hopefully I can get to it within a couple of months, just with some of the orders that come in, because I'm working on other people's stuff too.
Yeah.
I'm working on 2 vests and a set of aprons right now, and I've been working on those for, a couple of weeks. So it's, to say that it's time consuming is I guess an understatement. There's a lot of time and energy that goes into these pieces. And I'm one of those people that feel that, what I'm feeling that day, if I'm having those good vibes, I'm able to work and put those feelings into that. But let's say I'm having a bad day or something and things are not going so smooth, I'm going to take a break from what I'm doing. And, once my heart is full again, then I'll go back to work and start working on those pieces.
What is the piece that took the longest to make?
I did a fully beaded bandolier bag last year. And this bandolier bag, it measured 18 by 18 inches. And also the strap was 60 inches by 5 inches. And that probably took me over, I would say, right around 1,000 to 1,200 hours to complete that.
And that's fully beaded.
Fully beaded. Mm-hmm. And that's over in Mille Lacs now to a gentleman. And
wow.
Hopefully he's coming up to Fond du Lac here. I hope he brings a bag with him. Cause
that'd be cool to see, yeah.
Yeah, and it's... to see some of my pieces go out the door or put them in the mail too, it's difficult.
Yeah.
Just because of how much of myself went into that work, and to see it go. But then also it's fulfilling to know that, hey, I've completed a legacy piece for somebody out there to enjoy for a lifetime. And then I think, you see a lot of bandolier bags, stuffed away in museums and things like that. And those were great beadworkers too at that time, and maybe were they thinking, where is this bandolier bag going to end up someday? And I think of that stuff too when I'm making my pieces is where is this going to be in 40 years? Where is this going to be in 50 years? Or how about 100 years?
Mm-hmm.
So I make sure to put just a little bit of piece of me on there so people know that I made this, whether it's my name tag or a symbol of Round Lake Traditions. And, each one of those pieces have something on there that indicate either Herb Fineday or Chi Mainga and our Round Lake Traditions. So that, if they're unpacking this bag in a museum, 150 years from now, I'm going to be gone, I'm going to be traveled on. But at that moment, they're going to say Round Lake Traditions, our Chi Mainga. And just for that, 2 or 3 seconds, I'll be alive again.
Where did you learn to be such a great artist? And when? How long?
So I have had many, many teachers along the way. And my grandfather was a trapper and a leather worker. And also he carved a lot of stuff with wood, things like that. My grandmother was a bead worker. My mother was a sewer. So I learned by watching all of them. My father, he was a great, we'll say graphic artist, working with graphite, charcoal, things like that. So he taught a lot. He taught me a lot too. And he actually taught me how to see in 3D, 3-dimension and not make everything 2D. So a lot of my drawings and paintings and things like that come from him. All of my sewing comes from my mother.
Oh.
All of my beadworking comes from my grandmother, and my leather work comes from my grandfather, and so that's where it all comes from. And it's one of those things of, it's a lifetime education. And I didn't learn it overnight. And it's one of those things that I just learned by watching them over time, since I was a child. And at that time, I didn't even realize it was artwork, watching them do their thing. And as I get older and people are wanting these pieces, I was like, I know how to do that. I can do that. So I would start putting stuff out there, and people would purchase it. And so like I said, I didn't consider it art until I knew there was a demand. I just thought it was just everyday life for us.
So before you decided to retire as a cop for FDL, were you making stuff while you were a cop as well?
Yeah, I was actually. I did a lot of sewing. I was able to go out to a lot of speaking engagements while I was the chief of police and also an investigator for Fond du Lac. And when I do those speaking engagements, I get nervous, to get up in front of, a couple hundred people and talk. And I started making myself, some applique shirts with some of our Ojibwe insignia on them, whether it was floral work or bear paws. Made a couple neckties. with some floral work. And once I started wearing those, it gave me that confidence to know that, I'm wearing a piece of my culture, a piece of my heritage. And I had that confidence then to be able to go up and do a lot more public speaking and wear those pieces. And people will come up to me after and say, hey, where did you get that shirt? Where did you get that tie? I'd be like, I made it. And they're like, cool, can you make me one? I was like, yeah, I'll make you one.
Oh.
So I started making stuff for other people and getting it out there. And then as more and more demand coming in, and then started talking with my wife. I was like, I got so many people asking for my stuff. I bet you I could do this full time.
That's cool.
So that's how I transitioned. And, it was slowly over time as how it happened.
That's awesome. So what's your favorite thing to make?
I don't want to say that I have an absolute favorite thing to make. I guess it all depends on the season that we're in.
I guess, like, what do you prefer to do? Would you prefer to bead or paint or make regalia?
Yeah, I would say making regalia just because of how it feels, knowing that people are getting back out there and dancing and healing themselves too is important to me. But like I said, I was going back to, it depends on the season too. You know, if I'm making knockers or rice knockers or a push pull, there's not a lot of people out there who know how to make those kind of things. So summer times here, that's when we harvest our stuff to make those, whether it's cedar or cutting some pine down for push pulls, getting ready for ricing season, or even making macucks out of birch bark. This is time that we harvest our bark too. And, we're going to be working on some moose calls here coming up and preparing for the moose season. So it all depends on what type of year it is or what time of year it is that on things that I make.
When you're making your regalia, do you draw inspiration then from the seasons or from family or?
That's a great question. So if we think about our people and where our Ojibwe floral comes from, we're a woodland people. We come from the woods, and a lot of those designs and a lot of those flower designs are just things that we see while we're out in the woods. Whether it's a dogwood rose or a wild tulip, and those are put on our clothing, and whether it's a leaf or something. But also I'll sit and talk with people for a little bit or message them back and forth, a couple of emails, just to kind of gauge of who they are as a person, kind of talk about where they come from. Some people through those conversations will tell me their Ojibwe or their spirit name, Ojibwe name, and what it means or if there's a meaning behind it. Sometimes they'll tell me their clan, and I'll incorporate those pieces on there if I'm able to, and whether it's their Ojibwe name or their spirit name and their clan, I'll put those on those, and I'll also incorporate my floral work on those too. So my floral work, though, and when I talk about that, and people ask me, hey, can I borrow this flower or can I use that design? And I tell them, I said, absolutely, you can use it because these designs are not mine. They're gifts from the Creator, and that's where we got our designs from. It was from the Creator. So you go ahead and use those designs as much as you want. And 100% of my pieces that I make, they're all original, and I'm never going to make the same one again.
Right.
So whether it's going to be hard and difficult to copy my stuff anyway.
You're just that good?
Yeah.
Not that I'm that good. It's just that every one of my handmade pieces are going to be original to be from the beginning. So that's why I say that.
Do you have like a big seller or hot seller or like custom orders, your most thing that you get asked to make?
Ribbon skirts and velvet vests are my two top things that are asked to make. As far as my website goes, I don't want to say that I have one top seller. I have an Honor to the Treaties long sleeve, black long sleeve that's fairly hot right now. And I have a couple neckties, and my Medicine Keeper necktie with a bear paw on it. That's pretty hot too, so a lot of people buy those neckties. And that the Honor to the Treaties long sleeve tee.
Okay. What's your website? So
My website is www.roundlaketraditions.com.
easy peasy. Cool.
Yeah.
Check it
Yeah, I've
out.
seen instead of the We the People, it's We the Savages.
Yeah, I have that.
Oh, I need that one.
I have that one too. We the Savages. I get kind of a little bit of slack for that. Sometimes some negative feedback because people ask me, if I'm anti-American because I make something like that, and or I made a post on my Facebook the other day. My Facebook is Round Lake Traditions, and I also have an Instagram called Round Lake Traditions. And it was a picture of me dancing, and my hashtag on there was "Remain merciless even today, or especially today," and "Stay savage, especially today." And I made that on the 4th of July. A couple of messages come in, what do you mean by that? Are you anti-American, anti-4th of July? And I'm by no means not anti-American. I love this country. I love where we live. I love our people. I love our communities. And I say, I'm not anti-government. I'm just pro-Native American. And we're referred as merciless Indian savages by the direct Declaration of Independence. And sometimes being an artist, you need to have a little bit of, I guess, a little bit of pushback sometimes. And that's my We the Savages shirt that I've made. That's part of that. You walk around and you see a lot of we the people, and sometimes there's a certain demographic or a certain, I'll say a certain political group that, maybe they don't include Native American community in that by those sayings of we the people, it's just them only. So when I say, well, I'm going to make one that's We the Savages.
Oh, I love it. It's awesome.
Me too.
So yeah, that's where that comes from, a little bit of a side story of meaning behind that.
So do you have any goals or where you'd like to see your business in the future?
Yeah, I'm working on some print stuff now. I have my own capabilities of making my own T-shirts, making my own hats, like the hat you're wearing with that patch up there. The hat, the Honor of the Treaties hat that I'm wearing right now. This is one of my products that I make. So I'm able to print my own hats. I can buy in bulk and put patches on hats and also on T-shirts, and not just T-shirts too. I mean, we can even go into like coolers and soft side coolers, things like that. Fanny packs, I can do those type of things too.
Side question. How did the design get on your hat of the diamond?
The diamonds. I actually found this hat online. I bought it in bulk. So I bought, many hats like this, and I just decided that it's from Double Portion Supply. I guess they're based out of Hawaii.
Oh, cool. I like the design. It looks kind of like your
That's
tattoo.
Yeah, that's exactly why I picked it out.
Oh, cool.
And I got another hat on the website that's red, that's has the Polynesian tribal design on it with we honor the treaties patch that I have. I also have another one with the same design that says carnivore on it. That's kind of important to me too, being a carnivore. I only eat meat. I'm not one of those people. I'm not big into vegetables, or I'm not big into pasta, anything like that. I'll say 98% of my diet is just meat, eggs, and salt, and water, and repeat.
No mashed potatoes?
Going, no mashed potatoes either.
I love mashed potatoes. I couldn't give it up. So we will definitely be putting an order in for some of your merch. And
Awesome. Anybody who wants to put in an order, I tell them that, I'm usually backed up by at least 3 to 4 months. So keep that in mind too.
What's the best way to contact you?
Best way to contact me is you can either send me an email at, it's still Herb Fineday at roundlaketraditions.com. I haven't transitioned Chi Maingan yet on there, but Herb Fineday at roundlaketraditions.com. You can email me there. Or you can also message me at my Facebook page, Round Lake Traditions, or on Instagram at Round Lake Traditions.
Well, cool. Well, thanks for coming out and talking with us and sharing a little bit more about your business.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me out.
Yeah, it was interesting to hear your story and more about the artwork that you do create. It's awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I know I'll be at the powwow. listening to MC.
Yeah. We'll see you
Awesome.
there.
Great.
Alrighty. Well, we did all our updates already. So,
Well, not all of them.
I know we got to get to the answer.
Oh, the answer to the trivia.
Answer to the trivia. Okay. So, the trivia question was what city has the highest Native American population?
So yeah, I was thinking my guess or my answer is going to be Chicago.
Chicago. That's a good one.
I gotta say I'm gonna say Anchorage, Alaska.
Lou?
Maybe like Oklahoma City.
Oh, that's a good one.
That is a good one too.
Okay. The answer, according to Indian Country Today, is New York City. So, the largest city in the country also has the largest indigenous population with over 100,000 people, Native American people.
Oh wow, I never would have.
It's a shocker.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just play the numbers game. One of the most populated cities in the country.
What do they got? 20.2 million? Something like that.
Something
I
like
don't know.
that. Yeah, they got a lot of people there.
I've never been there, so I can't imagine how seeing New York City like that big.
Well, we can go there and see a lot of natives anyway.
I guess we'll fit right in.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
All right. Well, as we're wrapping up, don't forget to check out the Fond du Lac Powwow, and make sure you check out Round Lake Traditions. Even though Chimaingan is backed up, still fill out those orders.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and,
show them some love and some support.
yeah, I put some custom work on my website too that you can purchase directly off of there. Just some Dance Regalia stuff that'll actually move you up a little bit out of
Ooh,
some
there
of the
you
stuff.
go.
So
Oh, I
that's if it's available.
Little
I
insider
did
tip.
want to ask though, that bandolier bag that you made.
Yeah.
Do you have pictures of it?
I do have pictures of it on Round Lake Traditions
Oh, you do?
Facebook page. Yeah, you can go on there and see them.
Yeah. So make sure you check out the artwork. And from all of us here at Middle of the Res Road, see you next week.
See ya.
Bye.
Gigawabaman.